Organissima, New York. Your exotic skin, hair, and beauty source, and your one-stop shop for all your natural and organic skin and hair care, featuring authentic organic Moroccan oil and prickly pear seed oil and much more. Bringing you only the best, straight from the source and proudly produced in the USA. So what are you waiting for? Shop today. Organissima, New York. Your beauty is our duty.
Hey, 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 it's Dr. Cheryl Bryant Bruce, MD. You know me, the celebrity doc. And we are here with Chatters That Matter. Let's talk about it. We are here for another great episode. Got some great guests as always. Again, that little bit of cleanup as we're talking here. If you hear anything that relates to you, remember, this is just a show. We are here to educate, inform, and entertain you. I, however, am not your doctor. So anything that you hear on this show, I'm a real MD. This does not constitute a doctor-patient relationship. So if you hear it, you like it, talk to your own doctor and ask if it applies to you. That being said, we are going to jump into another great show. And we have some really good guests here with a lot of knowledge. Coming in, we have Dr. Garrick Beauliere, and he is going to give us a little bit about his background in a moment. We have producer Jazzy Faye, and we have Mo Vickers from the hip-hop industry, entertainer extraordinaire. And we are going to be talking about a number of different things, as we always do. But one of the things that we want to talk about tonight is, this is the 50th anniversary of hip hop and rap. And in the hip hop and rap genre, we have a lot of women bubbling up to the surface, rising up, doing good things. One of the things that we are seeing, though, is a lot of women throwing shade at each other, cursing each other out, a lot of bad blood, bad energy going on. We're going to talk about that and its effects on the hip hop industry, on women, and how women in hip hop industry are affecting the future with regards to the fact that we have lots of young girls who are looking up to these women and aspiring. And so we want to talk about how all of this affects the young girls, the future, how it impacts the women that are involved in hip hop. And then we're going to stretch that even further and talk about how it impacts men and relationships. So without further ado, I want to bring on Dr. Beauliere. And Dr. Beauliere, correct me if I'm not pronouncing your name completely correctly. I recognize the French.
No, I was gonna say it like when I introduced myself, so it's all good. Like it's fine.
All right. Well, welcome, Brother Omega, and tell us all about yourself.
Yeah. So hello everybody. My name is Dr. Garrick Beauliere. I'm 28 years old. I have my PsyD in clinical psychology. Yeah, what about me? I am the incoming president for the DC chapter of the Association of Black Psychologists. I was recently featured on BET, being highlighted for the work I've done in the community for mental health. G Herbo brought me out, and we also had a one-on-one conversation about Black men in hip hop and mental health. What else? I am a brother of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. What else?
You
I'm currently,
also have been cited recently
oh yeah, yeah.
in
So
Psychology Today.
yeah, I definitely have a Psychology Today post. It was based off of my dissertation. I assess vicarious trauma in Black Americans who have not experienced police violence. Um, yeah, I guess that's it about me. Thank you.
And that shows you that Dr. Beauliere is modest too. This gentleman is doing big things and has been very much recognized, and it was a speaker at the 2023 BET Awards. And he also has been recognized by McDonald's.
Yeah, so I'm one of 10 people selected to be a Black and positively golden change leader by McDonald's. Again, they highlight 10 um under 30 something Black individuals around the country for the work they've done. So the work my digital platform Psych Me Out does, it provides psychoeducation to the community, and is founded by myself and my friend Dr. Alexis Ferguson. So we both run the page, and we just like provides just education about mental health, for us by us kind of stuff. Uh
Right.
and yeah. And
Yeah, and
that's it.
he has an Instagram at Psych Me Out, and definitely go to that page and take a look, because there is a wealth of good information for the Black community there, and definitely many great tips for mental health that can be used by anybody, but certainly are very poignant for the Black community. So this brother is doing some big things, big steps, and is going to be a leader in the community in this time when we are really focusing on mental health and wellness. Now, Jazzy Faye, producer Jazzy Faye, is Mo Vickers' producer. Tell us about yourself and tell us about Mo.
Yes. Well, I'm Jazzy Faye. A lot of people might know me from Ladies and Gentlemen, Sierra, or what I mean,
Right.
various others. But Sierra is like namely my big baby. I produced everybody from Tupac to Biggie to Snoop Dogg to Too Short to Tony Braxton to Brandy to Beyonce to P. Diddy to everybody you could probably think of, Mary J. Blige, Jagged Edge, Aaliyah, LSG, a lot of different people, over 170 million records sold up under my production or writing or vocal assistance. I sing, I rap, don't do windows, not just playing. I, um, I also am a part of a new movement called Javon DeWarn and the Trap Stars. And trap meaning talent revolving around purpose. That's the trap. So it's an inspirational / gospel movement. And we probably started this project about 9 months ago now. And every song that we did was on a Wednesday. And we recorded these records, and without a record on the charts, on the gospel charts at all, we just did the I think it was like the 38th annual Stellar Awards. We just actually performed on the big stage at the Stellars, and that's like a big accomplishment for such a young group in the game. It airs on the 6th of August. And hopefully y'all can see it. It's definitely, out of all of the music I've done, I think this is like the most my grandmother would have been proud of. This is the one that I can take everywhere. We can take that from the church all the way into the schools with the young kids. It skews from 85 to 8. You know what I mean?
And I'm really excited to hear about that, because one of the things that I've been talking about with artists as I've been talking with them is rap, hip hop, have a huge influence on the young people. And we want that influence to be positive. But if they're listening to songs that are talking about shooting each other up, and where, you know, the language and, you know, slap that hoe, and, you know, on and on and on, it's not a positive vibe that we're giving them. So to hear you all doing these types of things and creating purpose within, that's huge. That's major.
Yes, it is. I was raised in the church as a child, but of course, you know, I went to public school, and I was with entertainment. My dad was in the entertainment business, one of the original Barcades. My mom sang with everybody from Barbra Streisand to Philip Bailey from Earth, Wind and Fire. So I've been backstage pretty much all my life. You know, I've been behind the scenes all my life. So growing up like that, and I was born in Memphis, Tennessee. A lot of people think I'm from Atlanta because I pretty much kind of took over. You know, Houston, Texas is my second home because of Mo. You know, not just because of Mo, but you know, I built a real foundation in Houston. You know, with early on with 8 Ball and MJG and Suave House and Tila was my first hit record with Show Enough. And thus we had Show Enough Records, in which I signed Sierra to Show Enough Records, and also Young Jeezy, Cherish, Block Entertainment. A lot of different people came from that tree, like Young Jock and you know, a lot of different people. So right now, what I'm building is so important because, you know, when you talk about, you know, trap stars, talent revolving around purpose, meaning that, you know, once you let your talent revolve around purpose, you never be trapped again. You never be trapped in your mind and your heart, your finances, your relationships, you know, any of that. So once you know, put your trust in God, you put your, it's cool to know who we are and what we are, but it's most important to know whose we are, who we belong to, and that we have someone, you know, that's supernatural that we can confide in, and you know, not sure who anybody believes in, but I believe that you know, God, Jesus is the way, the truth, the life, and no man come to the Father but by Him. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I believe, and I've been, you know, raised from that from 10 years old, and now I'm 50. So, you know what I mean?
And we appreciate that you're standing on that. We appreciate you standing on it and putting it out there.
Yeah. He's a rock, you know what I mean? So, and bless me, you know, amazingly, and just continuing to be, you know, fruitful and creative. At this point, I just came in kind of to say hi to y'all because I got a whole session that's coming in right now. I wanted to come in and say hi to you guys and you know, honor my baby girl Mo, because that's my baby right there. Her and BSGG Lil Man and the whole BSGG crew. They've been spectacular in my life, and just, you know, just kind of like really in launching me into the Houston scene again, you know, kind of encouraging me back, you know, in there and moving around in the town a little more. And when I got there, I realized that they needed it, you know, and we're going to do more. We're going to do more. And I love Mo, and that's my dog, you know, and she don't take no stuff from nobody. You know what I'm saying? And she's my kind of people. So, you know, I've adopted her and vice versa. And we family from now on. And good to meet you all.
Good to meet you all too. Thanks for swinging by, and hope you have a great session.
Thank you, my love.
All right. And love the glasses. Just love the glasses.
Thank you. I put them on just for y'all, you know.
Okay.
By the way, I'm a partner with Vintage Frames. Vintage Frames are coming soon, you know, but Jazzy Faye and Corey.
Okay, perfect. We'll be looking for them.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, you have a great session, and we are going to bring Mo in.
All right. Love y'all.
Love you too. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Mo.
Hey. Oh,
Hey, lady.
all right. I'm Mo Vickers. I'm from Houston, Texas. I'm 49 years old. Me and Jazz have been friends about 15 years. I have a music label here, also hair salon,
Mhm.
studio, all kind of things. You know, you tap into Houston, then you say Mo Vickers, you pretty much gonna tap in. Me and
Okay, good.
Jazzy, yeah, me and Jazzy have a youth program, BSGG youth program. It's after school. We teach the kids how to sing, how to rap, how to play instruments. We're about to drop a song probably in about a week. It's called Praise the Lord. They learned a lot of gospel songs. During the after school programs, you know, I have anywhere from 60 to 100 kids. We kind of rotate in the class. They go from the DJ booth, from the booth to the engineering station to the classroom where the pastor is, because it's a pastor there too that he give
Hmm.
them the word and it kind of goes. So these kids are from ages 4 to 21. Half of the kids I didn't even know had cancer. So, you know, they were such an enjoyment in there. It was like, I miss my childhood. So to see these kids like excited about this, and I know like they didn't understand. I was like, I need 10 words. I need y'all to say, give me 10 words that rhyme with yes. And they was like, this is stupid. But when they never wrote before. So when they got,
Right,
when they had all these sections of words and then they put them together to make a song, they were ecstatic. So now
right.
I let them come up whatever words they came and I put it on, we finna put it on wax for them so they can hear it. I said, I need y'all parents to sit all y'all, um, your music, you know, so you can get paid. And they was like, for real? You know, so that's what we do. Um, in the music industry, I just wish that it was something like that. With that, it's good because it gives them stage presence, how to talk, how to deal with positive things. Cause we didn't have social media when we were young. You know,
Right.
we had chalk, go draw something on the street outside, go play hopscotch, you know, stuff like that.
Right.
We weren't
And there's
doing all
something
this
to be
here.
said for that, though. There is something to be said for that chalk and go draw something out on the street.
Yes. Yeah, we played volleyball and kickball and all that in the street and four squares, you know. So now it's so different now because the grandmothers that we had are not here anymore. The grandmothers that
Right.
we need to kick in, you know, because I have grandkids.
Right.
I have been in the music industry now. BSGG Little Man is my fiance.
Mhm.
He's the other owner with me of the BSGG Entertainment. We have about 11 artists, all starting from age 17 on up. We do a lot of positive stuff. We do a lot of running around. I kind of let them be them because they're gonna have, you know, what I learned. It took me to get there. I want them to know it's available to know, but I don't want to force it on them because it's gonna make them resist. So as
Right.
far as me, then I'm kind of like a staple. I used to promote clubs for a long time, and it was just for enjoyment. It was fun. I've did hair. I've worked in America, you know, in America. I mean, in that AT&T. I've did some things, and I've actually stepped out where now I have a lot of different businesses. So that's where
Hmm.
I'm at now. When I hook up with Jazzy, I put Jazzy in a lot of different places. Not so much of that because he's. I don't care where we go. They know that is Jazzy. They know that is Jazzy. So it's like a lot of times, you know, when we first got back together, as far as him, you know, he really was chilling. I was like, nah, let's go. You gonna move the name that's attached to you, and he do. We have a lot of music that he's produced with us. So
So you're
I'm glad.
you're a mover and a shaker, but you
Yes,
said something that caught my interest when you first started. You said you are bringing them the childhood that you didn't have. You said you missed
that's right.
your childhood. What was that about?
Well, when I was 13, I lived with my great grandmother. I never lived with my mom, and my dad's been dead since I was 4. So we
Hmm.
all lived in this 2-bedroom raggedy house with roaches and all kind of stuff. And I'm like, look, I don't know what it's supposed to look like, but I know this ain't it. My mama had 7
Hmm.
kids, and I never stayed with her. So I just kind of ran away. I was trying to find my way. I
How
was
old
so
were you?
smart. I was 13.
Okay.
I was 13. I kind of moved from here to there. I was taking $20 to go stay at a little motels, trying to find my way. And I was real smart though. I always made great grades. I was on a roll, but I didn't have any support, so I
Hmm.
just kind of found my way through. So I became an adult from 13. I went from 11 to grown.
Right. So
So
when you ran away, did you stay in school?
I stayed in school to the ninth grade, and then I wound up going
Okay.
to get my GED. I went to community
Hmm.
college. I said, so all my friends were taking the RN test. They was like, none of them can pass it. So I went and took the test, passed it with flying colors. I'm like, but y'all went all the way through school. I'm confused. So, so it was
That says a lot about the schools.
yeah, it was never the issue of me not knowing. I got pregnant when I was 15. I had my daughter when I was 16. I was like, you ain't gonna be nothing, you're gonna be this, you're gonna be that. Well, I have different businesses that I'm in the pharmaceutical business. I also, I step into, where I'm dealing with hospice patients. I do a lot in that area.
Okay.
And when I stepped in, I just kind of start reaching for things myself. Start talking to people that were not doing hair. I didn't want to do hair. That's
Hmm.
the first thing we run to is a hair salon. That's just
Hmm.
something to say you did something. That's not good enough because it does mediocre. You're trying to do something that's past that point. So um, I go back. I do free classes on Saturdays. I even pay for people that don't understand business. I pay for corporations for them. I try to explain to them. I give back a lot. Like for back to school, we gave away 300 pair of tennis shoes last year. We gave away backpack school. Sheila Jackson Lee, our congresswoman, she supports everything that
Hmm.
I do. So they normally show up in numbers when I come out. But for the
Right.
most,
Now
my
let,
childhood. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
let's talk about the people who show out.
Mhm.
Now, we're talking about the young girls. The young girls that show out, a lot of them may be in similar situations to yourself where they're
Yes.
hitting the street early.
Yes.
And when they're jumping out there, the influences that they're seeing, the influences that they're following are not always positive.
That's right.
And the ones that are showing up huge, oftentimes their backgrounds are things like strippers and so on and so forth. And the message is, this is the way that you make it. This is how you're
Right.
going to get the big money. This is how you're going to get success. What would you say to these young girls about the psychological impact that all of that is having on them and how they can look to something different and more positive?
Well, I have a lot of girls that come in the salon too with that same idea. They
Mm-hmm.
look at me and they think instantly, oh, she got it going on, not knowing the struggle I went through. When I talk to them, their understanding is like, whoa, I thought you had to just go straight to this. And I was like, no, let me show you something. That's where the free classes came in, to show them something
Mm-hmm.
different, to show them business, to understand not everybody can do business, but do you understand how to run one? I don't want you to get in business
Right.
because it sounds good. I want you to understand. So I go through the logics with them, and they come back to me every single time. If I can show you my emails where my salon right now is open. I have a bar, a food truck. I mean, I have a bar, I have a food truck, and then the rest of it is set up. But I set it up like a restaurant because that suffices the extra money that I was making when I was doing hair. So that's that
Mm-hmm.
money. But when they come in there, they come to sit, they look, and they was like, okay, I want to do this. I'm like, what do you want? What makes you want to do this? So in the front of that, I'm throwing classes to intrigue, let them know. All they see is what's now, not the foundation that I came through. So I never had a
Mm-hmm.
birthday party till I was 30 because I ain't know
Mm-hmm.
nothing about all that stuff. I was in the streets trying to survive. I went back
And how
and
did
tried
that
to.
impact you? How did the streets impact you?
It was
You
hard.
know,
It was the impact was so hard. Like when I go back now, I think about like how did I get through that? And I know it was nothing but God. But right now, the reason that salon is still open is because I'm being obedient. Because I
mm-hmm.
don't do hair. I have been retired for 5 years. I don't do
Mm-hmm.
hair. But
Mm-hmm.
that place is for the people who nobody else would hire. The place,
Right.
my salon is the reject building, put it like that. Well, now the
Okay.
people have been with me. I've been open 18 years.
Mm-hmm.
The half of the people that are there, they were either homeless, they were either going through something, they couldn't pay for their license, they needed a place to stay. something, and that's where my obedience came in it. That's the
And
reason why
were most of the people that came to you young people?
young. They started off young, yes, ma'am. They
Mhm.
they probably I'm telling you that each one of them now has probably been with me 10, 12, 15, 16 years. But they
Mhm.
started here young, and it's females and males.
Mhm.
So, I'm the OG on the strip. They call me
Okay.
Miss I'm the OG on the strip. Everybody wanna go holler at Mo. Let me go talk.
And you're still just a baby. So
Yes, I'm still a baby.
that says a lot. That says a
Yes,
lot.
it
You
is.
have accomplished a tremendous amount in a relatively short time, given your young age. But then
Yes.
you started really, really early,
Really,
and
oh yeah, yeah, I
yes,
did.
yes. Now, Dr. Garrett, we have a young woman here who started out, hit the streets early, but made some positive choices. The influences were still there, not as much as the influences now, because I mean, with the rise of social media, there's just so much. There's too much that is being given to young people too early, and in ways that are not necessarily positive. So, Dr. Garrett, what would you say about the impact that social media, and particularly when it relates to the hip hop movement, the rap movement, and the images that we see coming out of that, how is that impacting our young women?
Yeah, no, it's definitely can be impactful, especially like, the wording from the lyrics, and then people can internalize those lyrics, so if they are looking at women as, not human, or just, just for sex, and, just for show, and just to be an object, some women may internalize that, some men may
Mm-hmm.
internalize that, may look at women like that, and
Mm-hmm.
because their favorite rapper says it, and that's somebody that can possibly influence them, they believe them. So it
Mm-hmm.
definitely have an impact on that, because how you internalize it. You can go into how even skin color, women who are, more light skinned are, seem to be more praised and even more shown in music videos than women that are dark skinned, so that
Mm-hmm.
can affect your confidence, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's different ways that it can definitely affect, a woman's perception of herself, unfortunately. But there are, female rappers that, that are, a positive influence of female rappers that can actually, you know, show the women that they're more than just, sex and just for show. They're smart, they're educated, they can make change, they're influential and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really just being mindful of what you're listening to, and also having the self-confidence and the self-love for yourself.
Okay. And within the genre of hip hop and rap, we see a lot in the music of women being pitted against each other. We've got what is it, Carly B and Nicki Minaj, at each other's throats. And then even within the television shows, we have Love and Hip Hop, and these shows where women are being pitted against each other for entertainment. But they're not just being pitted against each other; they're being pitted against each other in very, very ugly and demeaning ways. What does this do to the psyche of women?
Yeah, one, it may normalize it, especially if
Mm-hmm.
it's women that you really look up to, women women that music that you listen to. So one, it really normalizes it and makes you think that it is okay.
Mm-hmm.
Two, at the end of the day, it's all social media, it's all media in general, and unfortunately, that kind of things garner attention. So if somebody wants attention, they may engage in those activities because they know people would look and engage of what's going on. So not just, being influenced by the fact that, people that you look up to are doing it, but you might be
Mm-hmm.
influenced to the fact you might be influenced to be an influencer,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
in addition to that, it shows you that, women, it also makes it seem like women are each other's enemies instead of friends, instead of sisters. You know what I'm saying? So now it's kind of like it should only be like one of us. If there's more female rappers, then that means I gotta take them out, or that means I can't collab with them. When in reality, we should praise and uplift each other. So there's more of y'all, to really take over the industry, because there's a lot of, I know so many female rappers that deserve to get their shine, and sometimes having these beefs can limit other new female rappers to come, and also inhibit the young ones that are coming, that are trying to bloom and come up as well. So
now this is kind of a loaded question, I think, in that women are trying to rise, and they're trying to be successful, and yet these are the shows that are being promoted. These are the shows that are gaining attention. And if you want to be in the industry, you want to be in the business, there's a pressure to be like that. Do you think that that's an agenda? And do you think that that agenda is based on the psychological impact that it has?
I would love to say something.
Go ahead, Mo. Let's let you answer that then.
I'm not going to even lie. When I was promoting the club, the negativity packed the club. It packed the club. I can get on social media, and this is just a tactic I tried, because I was like, let me see something. I would get on social media deliberately and say, hey, and just start something. Before you know it, I had so many views, and I hang up, wouldn't feel in the end. But it was it was to pack the club, and it worked every night. Every night I did, but then I had to figure out what you want to do. Do you want to? I can't be straddling the fence. You want to let these people know to make it right, or do you want to? It just depends on where you are with it. But they probably, this is fake beef to me. They creating something out there, but it's all for money. That's for views.
Right.
That's to hype it up. Because I'm not gonna even lie to you. I used to pack the club out every single night for almost 10 years. I'll start some drama on the internet, and I'll leave it right there. So by the time I get to the club, everybody waiting on me.
Right.
So I can imagine.
And I just want to jump in, and that's why I feel like it's all about money. Clickbait. Yes. It attracts attention. Unfortunately, drama.
It's a bad way.
Drama. But unfortunately, drama is profitable.
Yes, it is.
Being the villain is profitable. I feel like the agenda made just to make more money, but unfortunately it's at the expense of us, as at the expense of our people.
Exactly.
Now, unfortunately,
looking crazy.
100%, right? But at the same time, we need to stop, going into those things, because nobody's putting a gun to their heads. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So we are.
But clout is a hell of a drug.
That's what I'm saying. Some people like that attention. They don't mind that attention.
Right.
You know how many people find being the villain of a reality show? Because that gets what? More money. There's a reason why the news is always negative stuff, because that brings your attention. All these good things that are happening in the world, that good stuff isn't profitable. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Good isn't, doesn't bring you more views. You know what I'm saying? You will see more things that are bad than good, and because it's profitable. So we have to change how we view things. You know what I'm saying? We need to understand that we're not just for like the white man's entertainment. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But it's profitable. And until we get out of that,
and we have to stop accepting that as our entertainment. It has to stop being entertainment for us to watch each other fight and to watch each other tear each other down. Now, I had Dr. Heavenly on the show a while back, and she was saying, stir it up that's what they do in the show, is stir it up. And she was saying, well, I'm the one for quick snapback and the whole bit. But she said, that is not who I really am. in real life, I avoid conflict and drama in my own real personal life, but this is a character that, she has built on the show. And as we were going through the interview, she actually, tried to do a little stir it up, with me to I guess liven the show. But the point that I brought out was, no, this is who I really am, and all of the clap back and all of that, that's just not me. And I think that we really have to, if that's not who you are, then you need to be authentic, and we need to start appreciating the authenticity of who people are. Because even with the ones who are clapping back and so on, if you actually get into a conversation with them, even if that's how they come, they're hard and they got all of that personality going on, but when you get into a conversation with them, usually what you find is a hurt person behind that. So can you address that?
I think before I answer, can you condense the question one more time just so I can accurately answer it?
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of times, in our culture, you got a lot of head wagging and clap back and attitude going on. But a lot of times, if you can actually spend time talking to that person, you find behind it a genuine person who is actually a nice person who's hurt, who has been hurt. And so they portray this hard edge when they really may be very sensitive and gentle. And this whole culture is promoting that hard edge, but the authenticity of that person inside is really a gentle, good person. So I guess the question is, I'm not even sure what the question is. The question is, how does that edginess and that anger and everything that's brought to these negative personality images, how does that speak to these young people out there who feel like they have to be that, whether it's authentic to who they are or not, in order to succeed?
I get you.
Mm-hmm.
First and foremost, I like to tell people that anger is a secondary emotion, right? Under
Mm-hmm.
that, when it comes to people being angry, you are angry, but there's always an underlying emotion underneath that anger. So being angry is definitely a lot easier, you know what I'm saying, than to be embarrassed, to be anxious, worried, to be disrespected, to be disrespected, to be embarrassed. You don't want to show those vulnerable emotions. So being angry is just easier, right? So when people are clapping back because they're angry, maybe they're just hurt. But you can't show that hurt on social media because then people are going to think you're weak. So you have to clap back and be even harder just so people know that you're not weak, to know that they didn't hurt you. But in reality, it does hurt, but you can't show that. So when you mention the thing about people who clap back and they're really actually nice people, that's stuff all the time. There's so many villains in reality TV that aren't really villains in real life, but that's what makes their money. That's what pays their bills. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like people do act a certain way for money, because at the end of the day, those kind of things pay their bills, but that's not who they are as a real person. And they don't let, I guess, the media thing like that affect them sometimes, but for some people it does affect them, but that's what I believe. I feel like, most people aren't really like that. They're really hurt, there's so many different underlying emotions that comes from just being angry. You could be sad, and
hurt people hurt people.
Exactly.
Hurt people hurt people.
So that anger can be stemming and rooted in so many different emotions, and some people don't even realize it. When people say, even black men, and so many black men I know in the therapy room can't identify their emotions. You know what I'm saying? And if you can't identify your emotions, you can't express how you feel. How do you expect to heal and grow from what's going on? How can you even address what's going on? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So if you can't, so it all goes back to knowing, yourself, and knowing what you can do, who you are and who you aren't. Some people get lost, some people don't, but I don't believe what we see on TV is the true person of some people. But if that's what pays their bills, then hey.
Is the true person, or is the truth even? Because the truth that's projected on TV is that we are a hateful, angry population of people who are willing to cut each other into pieces on a regular basis.
That stems, decades and decades of how they want to portray Black people in general.
Right.
If you look at us as these savages, you can look at them as less human. You don't feel bad for the things you do. That's what's going on in slavery. They didn't look at, we weren't even humans, so we're just these tools. So, a lot of things that happened, decades ago, centuries ago are still happening now. It's just evolved, it revolutionized, you know what I'm saying? So, when it comes to that, I'm saying, like, this is nothing new. It's just revolutionized. It just evolved.
Right. Now let's talk about something that's coming out of that evolution of this slavery mentality and the divisiveness and pitting us against each other, because this is something that I have never seen almost, I was going to say to this extent, but no, this is something that I have never really seen that's happening, that I think is incredibly toxic right now and incredibly dangerous to us as a people. One of the things that's happening with all of this negativity that's being portrayed and shade that's being thrown at and by women, and the disrespect that's being tossed around in the rap and hip hop music, all of a sudden, and I'm not quite sure when it happened, but all of a sudden there was this huge polarization of men and women, and Black men and women are at each other's throats, and there's no communication, because Black women are saying that Black men are the demon spawn, and Black men are saying that, Black women are not worth the air that they breathe, and never the twain shall meet. They cannot talk, they cannot communicate, and there's just tremendous disrespect being thrown between the two. And I believe a lot of it has come up out of the music and the images that are being portrayed, and the portrayal of relationships and the dysfunctionality of them.
Yeah, I think. Oh, go ahead.
Most definitely that. I think the difference now, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I think the difference now, we used to go to church. These people don't go to church. They took church out of school. It just turned to a whole hell world. So they don't have nothing to follow. They don't have any morals. They don't have. If I show y'all the text thread between my 10-year-old and 14-year-old grandchildren, they be like, "Grandma, what do that mean?" Every morning, what is integrity? What is moral? Things that we think is common sense to kids is not. So it's going to start with us. If we want them to get to the point where they are now and it's not happening anymore, it's going to start with what we're teaching them now. We got to keep in mind, we had real grandmothers. We had real great grandmothers. I'm a grandmother, but look at me. So I don't look like my grandmother did. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just being honest. Like, let's be for real. Now I do teach them because of how I grew up, but in every other home, they're not getting that. They're not getting. I'm gonna tell you how I know. I asked a bunch of kids. I say, hey, and these were kids were 7, 8, 12, and 14. I say, hey, if you're sitting in the car and it's hot and it's 105 degrees outside and the car is not on and the windows are up, what do you do? Do you know them kids could not answer me? They did not know. They were like, we don't know. I'm like, so you don't have a clue. What we think common ain't common sense no more. So it's gonna take us getting there to do it. So that's
And
why I love.
I really think that there's a reason behind that too. And I call it the dumbing down of America, because we have been being trained in the school system to be sheep, to be followers,
Yes.
because then you can be led, you can be subdued by the powers that be. So I think amongst Black people, it is upon us to get back to our roots, get back to our family values, and to get back into the churches. The churches served a purpose other than just religion.
Business.
I mean, it's kind of like people talk about the Jewish religion, but a huge part of the Jewish religion is not religion at all. It's the training, the financial training, the family training. And that is what we did within our churches, our financial training, our religious training, our moral and ethical training, our political training came out of the churches. And you're right, that has largely been removed from our communities.
From everywhere.
And,
you can ask the kids about God, they don't know.
Exactly.
I mean, some of them do, because some of them may have some elders that, it's just a talk now. It's not an actual action anymore about, interacting with God. Let them know there's something higher. I went through, if you listen to some of their beliefs, I was looking at them like, who raised you? You sound like Lucifer himself. What the hell? This sound like, I'm like, these damn aliens. But it's just a total different belief. Like, they come with the what ifs and all the stuff that's outside of the Bible and the stuff that they believe, you know what I'm saying? But you got to realize this what we're doing right now is going to be in the Bible 100 years from now, somebody reading about what we done. So a story was made by somebody. They're not trying to hear that, but that has a big effect on what, where, and when, and who they need to follow. Because they're so lost, they're grabbing onto what's popular and not what's needed. The popularity has taken, and it's gonna take over some of their souls if they don't snap back, because they got us looking like some fools. Well, now where it was so demanding for the other people to want us dead, they just sit back and like, they gonna kill us, kill each other. I ain't gotta do nothing no more.
That's true.
So it has to come. It's gonna start with us though. Like, it has to start with us. We got to start doing stuff. And especially people that are trendsetters, they need to do something trendsetting. The same negativity that you put in the air, they already paying attention to you now. Now I need you to grab that same attention span and get these kids over because they doomed. They are basically doomed.
And what I actually find interesting about that is, if you listen to the music, a lot of the players, a lot of the artists that are producing the music, and some of it is the funkiest music with the most disrespect in it, and yet they will refer, to God. I'm out here on these streets shooting them up, and God's gonna protect me. What?
The reason is because it's like, okay, right now I'm Mo. When I get to the club, I'm Mo Vickers. So I have to go into action. So now that's the same thing as an artist. I am humble. I am a person that believes. Now, my actions doesn't change who I am, because my heart, I do have a great relationship with God. But the show that I put on is a part of the act that I have to produce for the line of duty that I signed up for. So I signed
Right.
up to be this artist, and I have to act in that. Like my sister is a comedian. She's very mild mannered, but on stage she is a totally different person. She stands in and she knows she got to do this, she has to do this, but it's a part of who you stepped
So
into.
are we doing ourselves and our community a disservice though, stepping into these roles in pursuit of
Most
money?
definitely. Most definitely, because they are not trained any other way to make any money besides
Mm-hmm.
what is produced in a negative manner. I
Mm-hmm.
don't see like what Jazz and them do. Like we went to Atlanta, we went to New York, we went everywhere with him doing the trap stars, and they really perform like, but they're singing
Mm-hmm.
gospel music, and it's about maybe
Right.
10 or 15 of them. But
Mm-hmm.
it's the same effect, but it's different if it's not the people is different. Let me put it like that. To
Mm-hmm.
me, I was raised into it, so of course, once it's instilled in you as a child, you grow, you always come back, and I always, further back to it. But it's the needs of the business is what
Mm-hmm.
is taking over us, which have taken over us,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't really see that in other cultures besides us. We're the
Mm-hmm.
we're the we're the mobs. And
Right.
I guess and it still goes back to clout is a hell of a drug.
Right. But can we not change that course? Because one of the things that we are responding to
It's
is
negativity.
not is well, yes, that we're responding to the negativity, but that I don't think is really what's driving us to hook to the music, because we've got that thing going. We are people of rhythm. We are people of soul. And you can throw that beat out there and you can say anything on that record, yabba dabba do. And as long as there's a good beat going on and a good hook, we're going to gravitate to that.
You gotta kind of look at it like church music and rap music been going on for a long time, but the
Mm-hmm.
rap music gonna get the bigger crowd every time. It's like trying to pull a teeth to get the religion into people. So
So why
they
can't we
gonna
marry?
do.
Why can't we marry the two?
I mean, I would love to, but you got to get into the mind of matter for the people who don't know nothing about the other side now. When you talk to these people now, they don't know nothing about what they heard somebody else say on a song about God. That's the only thing that
Right.
they know. They haven't built a
Right.
relationship and know that's what you need. And in order for you to be able to change how your music come about, what comes to your
Right.
mind, what your message is at that point. Because even me as a little girl, I used to rap, I used to do poetry. I got probably a suitcase full of poetry that I've been writing since I was 5 years old. My goal in my head is I want to be the lady that write the poems on the Hallmark cards. I've been saying it since I've been a little girl.
Right.
So I've
Well,
always had,
what if we put those Hallmark cards to rap music? What if we put those Hallmark
and
cards to hip hop?
and that's what needs to happen. It needs to do something in the nature of what's gravitating. So if they like, that's what made me start the after school program, because it was rap. But when they got there, they thought it was going to be talking about some violence, and we in there. The name of the program is BSGG Youth Program Stop the Violence. That's what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
when they get in there, it's fun to them. They're DJing, they're learning how to engineer, they're in the booth rapping, they're going to Bible study, taking communion, everything like reading the Bible, have to recite them, stand back up. This is a different program. So I
And they're
gravitated that
not on the
same thought.
streets.
They're not on the street from ages 4 to 21 too, and I had a bunch of 16 to 21-year-olds in there. So the
Mm-hmm.
thing about it is I touched into what they liked and got them over there. So I started, going in the
Mm-hmm.
field that interests them, and that's how I was able to get a lot of kids.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Dr. Garrick, what is your thought on that subject?
I think it's important to understand, kind of like what Mo Vickers said, is you have to meet people where they're at. You know what I'm saying? You have to meet people
Mm-hmm.
where they're at. I feel like just to go like more psychology on you, there's the stages of change. There's the pre-contemplation, contemplation, preparation, action, and maintenance stage. So in psychology, when you're trying to make somebody, trying to have somebody make a change. For instance, somebody's trying to quit smoking. You have to meet them where they're at. The preparation, you got to see what stage they're in. So you have to meet people where they're at in those stages, because there's different types of psychological interventions you can do depending on the stage. So that's how it is with this generation out there. You need people to meet them where they're at, to them things that are digestible. Like that's why my platform explains stuff that is digestible, explains stuff that is easy to understand. It's not therapy, but it's more so just like things regarding mental health that's accurate and from professionals, so understanding that you can't have somebody that's generations beforehand telling these kids to don't do this. You need somebody that's somebody that they recognize, somebody that they can look up to, just but that has a positive influence, showing them. That's why having rapport is important, especially like in the therapy room, making sure the people that you connect with, the type of relationship they have with that person. So meeting them where they're at, I feel like sometimes I don't look at kids being bad. I see them as more so misguided. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So just having the right guidance, and lack of guidance can affect, the trajectory of your life personally. So I think meeting kids where they're at, having the proper guidance and speaking it in a language that they can understand, that's digestible to them.
I think that's a really important concept, because one of the things that I like about you is you're a psychologist. And, when people think about psychologists, psychiatrists, medical, whatever, the image of the past was corporate. You had to have a white coat buttoned up. You had to have a certain look. And yet, you're coming at this with tattoos, a big brand on your arm. Mo is coming at it with, she's got her hair braided with the blonde, and she looks in a way that is relatable to these kids. They cannot relate to this corporate image. And to say, if you want to be anything in life, you got to look like this, and particularly from our perspective, the message has been, not only did we have to look corporate, but we had to look white. And so when we have people like you who have this education, who have strong messages, but you are coming at your clientele from a place of meet them where they're at, I think that makes a huge difference. Mo is out there, she's pulling these kids off of the street, and she's feeding them positive, nutritious, healthy food. And I'm not talking about the food that we masticate. I'm talking about the food that she's putting into their spirits, and the morals and the ethics that she's infusing in, but she's meeting them where they're at. And I think that the industry has to, if we're going to move forward, if we're going to rise, if we're going to thrive, the industry, or we Blacks in the industry, and I'm going to extend that out to all of the people of color, because Latinos are going through the same thing. And then, we melanated folk in the industry have to take responsibility for ourselves and the part that we have played in this. And we have to decide where we want to be and how we're going to get there. And if we are in those roles of power, then we have to take on the responsibility of reaching back and educating our own about business, about restructuring the images that we're putting out there. And we have to take our own power back and say, we want to portray positive imagery. We don't have to portray this negativity. We don't have to portray this disrespect. We don't have to normalize that.
It's just going to take the right people to do it. And it's sad to say, because of the trend sets that has been set. It's like I can take Jazzy. I take Jazzy a lot of places. When he goes a lot of places, I go a lot of places with him. He goes a lot of places with me. But in actuality, Jazzy ain't young enough for the new generation to believe that they can follow them. A lot of the young people don't even know who Jazzy is. Until they go back, he tells them, I'm Sierra. And when he says Sierra, some of them didn't even know who Sierra was. So you coming into, it has to be somebody that they can completely relate to. So that's what I did. I took Lil Baby's beat, one of his beats, and they singing church songs on it.
Right.
They knew the beat the minute I played it. It was relatable. So once we get off of this, I'm gonna send you a video. Them kids they were jamming with their phones on, singing "Praise the Lord, Hallelujah" to that beat. So it's just about bringing it down to their size, because it was never introduced to them. So it needs to be introduced to what have been introduced to them.
Absolutely. And I'm seeing a lot of good things happening. Even let's take the cartoons that the kids are watching. I'm seeing the cartoons just being infused with hip hop and rap music, and these cute little melanated characters are dancing and singing and stating affirmations and putting forth scenarios where they're flipping positive situations and flipping negative situations and making positive choices that set it right. So I'm seeing, they're starting to, from that end, get a positive influence coming. I think that it just has to be done larger and more globally. And I do think that the younger kids are definitely a place that we really need to focus on, because we can have a huge influence on them early. But as you said, your group is 16 and 21 years old. These are the next leaders. And so we definitely need to impact them as well, because their time is coming up quickly. In 2 minutes, they'll be the OGs. So I really appreciate what you are doing out there in the field. And I appreciate your courage in taking that on, especially given your background, because to hit the streets at that young of an age and to arrive where you are, that is no small feat. And, I applaud you for that, because it definitely shows that you are a woman of strength. You are a woman of courage, and you are putting it out there that you are a woman of faith, and that also takes courage in this day and age. So, Dr. Garrick, is there anything that you would like to add to this soup in terms of thoughts about how we can move forward to a more positive place?
I think for real, at least for me, I think it's just doing your part. I think there's a lot of changes in a lot of different areas that's happening in this country, in this world, and in our communities. And I feel like it's too much for one person or a group of people to do. I feel like it takes all of us. It takes a collective group. I think finding out what you can do to help in, the community is important. For me, I know I can help with the mental health field. Mo Vickers helping, I can't even speak, in the industry. You're helping in the medical field. You know, like everybody isn't a warrior. Some are healers, some are teachers. And there's people that's gonna fight the fight, but not everybody has to do that. Find out what your strengths are and use that to help, the people. I think people are trying to do everything or doing things that they think or doing things that other people are doing, but not really tapping into what makes them them. And I feel like people need to know who they are as people, and do your role in the community. If you're a teacher, help the Black kids teach. If you're, into music, help the Black kids in music. If you are a doctor, help the Black kids in being a doctor. If you are a janitor, sweep up the best Black schools in the neighborhood. Like it's really just doing your role and whatever you're doing. And I think that collectively can help us. So like Umoja or Umoja, unity in Kwanzaa.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And do you have anything to throw out there in terms of how do we bridge this divide between our men and our women? Because that's going to be an important part of this if we're going to go forward and thrive. Because if this division remains, then we're doomed.
I think stop listening to social media and really just start having conversations with the people that you see in person. I feel like social media, like especially like stuff on Twitter, it makes it seem like we're trying to stab each other. But the people I'm around, I love them and they love me. Like it's. I feel like we just need to step outside of this social media era and just go back outside and just like interact.
Well, I'm sorry. Even in the social media, maybe we need to create a good group and get them on social media, since that's where they want to be. We're going to have to meet them, like we said, meet them in their lane.
Meet them where they can.
So, so let's create one from New York to Houston. Here we go. This is a good game. We meeting up in the Bahamas. We meeting up. We taking the kids to play basketball. You know what I'm saying? Create something positive on social media, because they're not going to get off of it. It's almost like telling me when I'm a kid, I can't go outside. I'm going to get in trouble and I'm going to sneak out the window. So you basically got to come to where they are. Let's create a good group. The name of the gang is Good Gang. I'm a nonprofit organization. I'm a 501c3. This is what we doing. We're going to all get everybody to pitch in. We're going to get them jackets that say it like they are part of a game, but it's a good game. Change the narrative. Let them stay where they are, but it's going to be more intriguing because now everybody want to be a part of something. Since they don't know that they need to lead, they're going to follow. So use what you know is bait. Let's turn it into a good situation. I have groups now. That's how I started that youth program, because so many kids come to me, Aunt Mo or Mama Mo, they come, whatever you want, whatever you see me as. I take them on field trips. I have big picnics once a year, every year, invite everybody, give away free crawfish, free t-shirts, let them perform. You got to create a good space for them. We're saying we don't want them to do this, but then we don't have nothing else for them to do. So be the brain that takes it to another level. Let's keep them on social media, but let's get in the good game. Who you a part of? In my bio, it says Mo Vickers, the leader of the good game. What is that? I want to be a part of it. We talking about the Lord over here. Come on with it. You see, they're gonna join. It's just to be a part of something. When we walk,
you're right. You're absolutely right, because we all want to be a part of a
part
tribe.
Of something. Yes. When we go do music, it's 11 artists, but I can guarantee you it'd be over 100 of us when we go to do a show. Everybody in the group got on BSGG. That means Backstreet Go-Getter. That's from Acres Home in Houston. And, I'm from Hardy Street on Houston. I grew up hard. So I grew up in Fifth Ward area.
Fifth Ward.
Yes, that's where I grew up. But that doesn't mean that's where my mind frame stayed, because I wanted more. And not because I seen more. I just started hanging with the people and getting involved in the areas that I wanted more from. So
say that again, because I think that is an important piece. You came from the Fifth Ward. My mother came from the Bronx, and then she moved into Brooklyn, down, North Portland, Flatbush. It was, they weren't great neighborhoods, but you made a choice. My mother made a choice. My grandmother made a choice that the hood did not have to define
Come with
who
me.
they were or where they were going.
That's right. And I think that's what's really intriguing to the people that come around now. Because I still have a lot of, like I said up at the salon today, a lot of them, hey, Miss Mo, little kids, they 8, 9 years old. They can't wait to catch me at the salon. And I'm there, because I understand the need. One girl, she's giving her mom a hard time. Her mom didn't know how to deal with her. I told her, hey, this is what I need you to do, because she's going to have a hard time talking to her 14-year-old, not me. They already love me and they trust me because they see something different. I had her to write down everything that she loved about her mama and what she didn't like about her mama. I said, write this down. She's like, I don't want to define. But it was things that she wrote that her mama never even knew. And I told them, I said, these are things that y'all need to work on. I told her, now you give her the same list and exchange it. See, what we think people know, we kind of got to put it on paper sometimes. And this is how I got them to a closer point. She called me the other day. She said, Mo, I ain't gonna lie. I've had no trouble on my daughter in 3 months. Whatever you told her worked. I ain't tell her nothing. I told her, you get one. That's it. You get one mama. You better figure it out. And you better figure out where you're feeling neglected at. And it's so much hurt within our culture that's held in and goes from generation to generation. It goes from generation to generation. It's not fixed. It's just swept under the rug. So now they're acting it out wherever they feel they can get the most popularity from.
Right.
So it's a culture thing of a generational curse that has to be broken. That's what it is.
And I think that we really do have to acknowledge that.
We got to acknowledge.
We can't fix it if we don't
know.
Acknowledge it and then address it.
She wrote some things on there that her mama had no clue. And vice versa. This was just talking. I say, so tell her how you feel. What don't you like about your mom? What foods don't you like? She thought it was stupid when I was saying it, but when she went back and when they exchanged lists, it helped what they thought. They didn't even know. They didn't even know that's what was the issue, and cured a big thing with them. I think being on the outskirts and then coming back in just made me a clear mind, and that's what I explained to them about leading. Everybody can be a boss, but do you understand the position to be a leader? It's different. It's a different understanding.
Right.
Yeah, it's a different understanding.
I actually something came across my feed yesterday, and I think I reposted it. I'm not sure if I did, but it was a little interview by Snoop, and he was saying that anybody can be a leader, and a leader doesn't mean that you're the boss and you have to run everything. He said, I don't always have to drive, and I always am seeking new knowledge, and I'm always trying to make the people I'm working with better, because that's what a real leader does.
You make them another boss. You create bosses. When you are a boss, you create one. You have to have the mindset of ongoing. You pass that baton. You pass it on.
Absolutely.
And keep going. Whether it's family or not. If it's cultural, then you keep it going. And a lot of people are unaware of that. Like when I do these free classes on Saturday, this lady came in there. She had a salon probably about 3 years. She's probably right across the street from me. I don't care. He could be in the same building with me. What's for me is for me. What's for you is for you. She wanted her own product. So I gave her the number. Hey, this is how you get your own shampoo, your own. She was standing there crying. She said, I just never thought you was told me that. Baby, I can't leave here with that. Where I'm going with.
Right.
And what's for you is for you. It doesn't matter anything I'm doing. That's not who I am. That's not what, and that's the process of being a leader. You have to be able to share things. You have to be able to understand that you can't always be over them. You were once under somebody. You can't expect for somebody to stay that way.
Absolutely. So, I mean, this is excellent words of advice for people. And I think that really what you're putting out there is that we do have to come together, and we do have to create these spaces where people can be vulnerable,
Yeah.
where people can come into their power, because we don't empower anybody. They empower themselves. And we have to create spaces where they can gain that power, where they can gain the knowledge. And we have to release that knowledge, because so many of us are holding on to it so tight, because if we release it, it may take something away from us. Sharing the knowledge is not taking anything away from you, because
anything away from you.
When you get knowledge, it can't be a taken away from you. And sharing it only expands it. Sharing it makes you bigger, and it makes us as a community that much greater.
That's absolutely right. I had a few girls that came in, and probably about, I'm gonna say about 4 months ago. She had worked with me for 2 years. She was working at home. She left. She wound up leaving. I thought she was mad. I didn't hear anything from her. But about 4 months ago, I get this big tag on Instagram, and it's probably long as the red carpet, telling me, man, if it wasn't for you, the words of encouragement, the things that you taught me. She has a huge multi-million business now. And I say, what happened? She say, you. She said, you took a chance on me. You gave me stuff that made me strong, because I was scared. And I have to come back and give you five, give you a high five about the things and how you led me to believe. Because she was like 19 years old when I got her. She probably like 24, 25, 26 now. You know what I'm saying? And she took it on to another level. I started explaining to her about credit. Nobody told me about credit. I messed up my credit when I found out what credit was. Then I got it again, So, those type of things now that we think is like somebody gonna know, they need to know. But one thing I did know, and where I learned it at, is like my 14-year-old grandson has a corporation that I have been building. All my grandkids, I have 3. It's called Amari, Ziggy, Richard, and the LLC. That's their name. And in that, it's been building for 4 years, maybe 5. I started probably about 5 years ago. Well, in that, my oldest grandson, the day he turned 18, he will be a millionaire. He understands. I went and checked his drawer. Every dime, he understands credit. Every dime he gets, he saves. He understands very well. But this is how we have to instill it in them, like they instill it in theirs. We too busy. We scared to leave our children something. We like crabs in a bucket, which is crazy.
Right.
But I didn't know to do that for my kids. My grandkids will. They will have it. They will know. They will not get it out the mud. I promise on my great grandma, they won't. They're not gonna get it out the mud. I went through that
absolutely
to tell them, to show them what not to do. And everything that we think for bad, sometimes it's meant for good.
Absolutely. And I'm really excited, because I am seeing more and more of this emerging. I'm seeing young people in their 20s, early 20s, who are creating corporations, who are working collectively. I'm seeing the OGs, stepping up and creating groups and reaching back and educating. I think that the more that we do this, the more that we see it, the more that we speak on it, and the more that we collectively say, these negative images are not who we are, and we can be better. We're going to do better. Then we will really start to bubble up and rise, because we are the cream. We are the cream, and we just need to take our rightful places in the world.
That's right.
So if there's a major takeaway point, what is the one thing that you would say?
Failure is not an option.
Bingo. Dr. Garrick, same question for you, my friend.
For me is do your part.
I like it. And for me, it's our tagline. It's, you are your greatest asset. Invest in yourself And I see Ricky has been off camera and silently listening out there. But Ricky, I know that you always have a word to throw in. If you have a takeaway, if you could just come on camera and share that with us. And he may just be kind of listening silently back there. But I think that we have had a tremendous conversation, a tremendous launching point. And I would like to put a challenge out there to the both of you. I would like to get together. We've had some guests in the past who have spoken on such organizations and reaching out. And I really think it's time for us to pull together and set these organizations up. And I liked what you were saying, Mo, about having something where we can take the kids somewhere and instill this knowledge into them.
Mm-hmm.
So, I guess my challenge to you is to come on board with me and let's create this instead of just talking about it.
Let's get it. I'm from the Let's Go world. I'm with it.
Okay.
With them. I tell them this when everybody leaves the building, everybody says 1, 2, 3 with them. And you know what that means? WIIFM. That means what's in it for me. They say that every day. What's in it for me? With them. That's what they say. So that's what encourages them to come back tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I would like for us to come back to tomorrow and create something that we can lift them up with. There have been a lot of, we've had rappers and, we've had dentists and we've had other doctors and, we've had a lot of people on this show, positive people who want to do something, who see a need. And I think that it's time to stop talking about it and start pulling these people together and let's do it with them.
That's exactly what I do. The same energy that I use to get them people in the club, let's take that. Because I ain't gonna lie to you, it was packed. And it's not hard. If it's fun, I have a gang I'm very creative when it comes to stuff. That's how we even started the program. But I am willing and ready to get them moving. I have a lot of kids on my end on this side already from the after school program, but us traveling and moving them around, that's my goal.
Okay.
Because even throughout my nonprofit, I have a 501c3. I hadn't got any grants or anything. I just was funding it myself because I want them to experience it. It wasn't based off of money at that moment to me.
And there's enough money out there. I mean, we look at ourselves as a people that don't have wealth, but we control tremendous amounts of wealth. And yet the majority of us never move outside of a 1 mile radius of our homes. The majority of our children will never travel worldwide. The majority of our children will never experience anything outside of their own little bubble and what the media instills in them. So I want to create these spaces outside of their neighborhoods where they can be exposed to different things. We can do an event in Costa Rica. We can take some kids to Singapore. We can just move them across the country because some of them haven't even been across the country or even to the next city for that matter.
The next city, yes.
And
our first one was going to take them to Disney because that's a lot to their dream.
There you go. And everybody needs to go to Disney.
Yes, everybody needs to go to Disney. Because I know last year I took it was probably 30, probably 40 of them. I took a bunch of kids. And we all flew. That was their first time flying.
Right.
They were like, I'm like, what we doing? Whatever y'all want to do. Y'all better hurry up because this is all I got.
Right.
They had a blast. They did. They had a blast. So,
right. And so, there are definitely things that we can do, and we can take them from the littlest to the biggest, and they can interact with each other and help each other. We can be community.
That's right.
So, and I think that that's an important thing. We have to bring back community and responsibility for that community. And Dr. Garrick, Mo, I appreciate you coming onto this show, imparting your wisdom. I appreciate the energy that you both bring. And I definitely want to have you back so we can have more of these conversations because, we're a community of people that are hurting, and we need to start healing the trauma and cutting the drama.
Well, that's the name of the group right there, what you just said. Healing the trauma.
Healing the trauma.
Yes.
Healing the trauma. So we are going to do this, and we are going to wrap this show up tonight because we've said plenty, and I think that we've done plenty. We've done some work here tonight. Yes. So Mo Vickers, thank you for joining us. For those of you out there in the audience sharing this with us, thank you for coming and sharing with us. Again, this is Chatters That Matters. Let's talk about it. We're here to educate, inform, and entertain you. But most of all, we want to interact with you. So hit those like buttons. There's little boxes down there that allow you to communicate with us. Put some words in those little boxes. We want to hear from you.
Absolutely.
Hit the share button. Send it to your friends. The more, the merrier, because it's hard to have a conversation all by yourself. So we want you here to be a part of the conversation, to share with us, to be a part of this show. We're here every week. Come back. You can find us anywhere, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Roku. We're all over the place. The show is Chatters That Matters. Let's talk about it. We're on the EMBC TV network, and everybody have a good week and a good night. We have gotten through Hump Day.
Yes. Peace. Bye-bye. Thank you, Chatters That Matters, for having me. This is your girl, Mo Vickers from Houston, Texas. Tap in with me at MOE_Vickers on Instagram.
Hey, how you doing? This is Dr. Beauliere. Thank you, Chatters That Matter, for inviting me to speak. Please follow my digital platform, Psych Me Out, PSYCHME.OUT on Instagram. So psychme.out on Instagram. Thank you.